Hey everybody, Karen from Ask the Spirit Guides. Click! This is a good old-fashioned coffee with Karen this morning, or this afternoon, or this evening, depending on when you're listening. But I wanted to make sure, before I put my mug down, that you know you're doing great. You are doing great. And this is what we're going to talk about today, all right? We've got a couple things on the agenda. So I'm going to talk a little bit about Mercury Retrograde and what I'm sensing for this period of time in my own life. What is it helping me reflect on? So I want to just talk about that. And the reason I want to do that is because I have a feeling some of you will be able to relate. And I find it helpful when I am going through things to hear other people who may be going through it, to know that I'm not alone. Okay, that's why I'm experiencing this right now. So I want to talk about Mercury Retrograde a little bit. And I really want to talk about Peter Gabriel's song, Please Don't Give Up. It's called Don't Give Up. Okay. And so we're going to talk about that and just how powerful that song is and the lyrics that I would encourage you to go and listen to that song. So powerful. If you ever feel like giving up or you ever just having a really bad day, it's a really good song to listen to. And I'm going to tell you how that came into my awareness from a show that I've been watching, and I'm re-watching it, and I would encourage you to watch it as well because it's so sweet. So, and then at the end, we are going to draw a card from the Gratitude Oracle. We have not drawn a card from this before, and we'll ask the lead team to give us a message for today. This deck has come from our fairy godmother, Melinda. Thank you, Melinda. So she's a member of our community. Isn't it pretty? Look at that. Oh my gosh, so pretty. Okay, so we'll do a card at the end, and a turkey is just climbing up our rock wall right now. So cute. I heard them. Oh, I did hear something last night. I just remembered. Something lost its life last night while I was sleeping. Yeah, it was probably a rabbit. So somebody got him, poor little guy, because he was, that's not really nice to wake up to. But the turkeys were squabbling this morning, so I don't know what they found, but anywho, so let's talk about Mercury Retrograde. What is up with Mercury Retrograde? So the period of time that we can experience the things that Mercury Retrograde actually allows us, gives us the opportunity to experience, which I think is such a better way to look at Mercury Retrograde. When I first learned about it, it was always who I learned it from or who I would listen to. It always felt like it was a period of time that was quite negative. That's at least how I interpreted it. Like, oh, it's Mercury Retrograde again, And I have come to appreciate it in a much different way. So let me look at the dates real quick. So June 29th, which I am recording this on the 28th. So we're in the shadow, I think it's called the shadow of Mercury Retrograde. So we're going to be full on into it tomorrow, the 29th, through July 23rd. Sorry, I do realize I can turn my speakers down. There we go. Through July 23rd. All right. So we've got about a 3-week period. So let's look at how the Britannica would describe what Mercury Retrograde is really about. Okay. And then I'm going to talk about how I see this integrating into my own life. And I would love to hear how it's integrating into your life. What are you sensing right now? And maybe you've been feeling a certain way and you didn't contribute it to Mercury Retrograde. And now you might, because you're like, oh, okay, I get that now. Okay. So Mercury Retrograde occurs when that planet appears to move backwards in the sky. This backward movement occurs because Mercury goes around the sun much faster than the Earth. Mercury is closer to the sun and has a year of 88 days. As Mercury passes from the front of the sun to go behind the sun, or passes from behind the sun to go in front of the sun, from the viewpoint of the Earth, Mercury moves in one direction and then another, okay? So I don't know if that meant anything to you, but for those who kind of need that visual. Then the Britannica says, what happens when Mercury is in retrograde? When Mercury is in retrograde, that planet appears to move backwards in the sky. So it's a backwards movement, okay? That's really kind of the key here. This backward movement occurs because Mercury goes around the sun much faster than the Earth. I think I just kind of said that, with a year of only 88 days. So remember, the planet appears to move backwards in the sky. So when I put that into AI and I just said, well, what does this mean for us energetically? What does it mean for us spiritually during this time? Okay. Is Mercury retrograde can encourage us to slow down. So we've got 3 weeks plus, I think, like a week before and a week after of the shadow periods. It may even be a little longer. So you might want to look up if you want to know exactly the time period. But it can encourage us to slow down, reflect, and become more aware of our thoughts, choices, and patterns before moving forward. It offers an opportunity to revisit unresolved emotions. So this is key right here. All right. So slowing down to revisit unresolved emotions, relationships, or lessons that may be ready for healing or completion. The slower pace can strengthen intuition by inviting us to listen more carefully to our inner guidance instead of reacting impulsively. Delays, okay, this is kind of what people tend to focus on with Mercury retrograde. Delays in miscommunication can become opportunities to practice patience, flexibility, and trust rather than resistance and frustration. So delays, technology issues, like things tend to break down technology-wise during this time. And maybe, I'm just guessing, and our astrologers here, Faye and others, can offer some things if they're interested. But really, it's kind of interesting to me that we have tech breakdowns, or not a good time to buy a car, not a good time to buy a TV, that kind of stuff, because you may not be able to get it set up, or it may not function for you the way you want it to during this time period. Maybe that's to help us slow down. You know, if your tech isn't working during this time, maybe it is because it's the universe is wanting us to slow down and evaluate this during this time. Okay. So spiritually, it can serve as a reminder that periods of review and realignment are often just as important as growth periods of outward progress or forward progress. Isn't that the truth? Isn't that the truth? I used to, and now that I understand this, I've always liked the forward progress. You know, I'm making progress on my goals. I've got my checklist and I'm making progress on my checklist. And then there would be periods of the year where I'd be like, well, why now I'm not making progress? I feel stuck. It's probably during these times I just never put it together where you feel stuck, you know? And it was probably always during that Mercury retrograde time. So the question is how can we utilize this time? And I can already feel, I'm going to tell you 2 things that have kind of been big in my life that I can feel right now over the last week have been coming up for me again. And I'm like, why? Why? And I'm thinking to myself that I can sense, because the more spiritually aware I've become, the more aware of these types of things I've become. Now I'm appreciating that, okay, I can actually see these things are coming up again. I'm going to tell you what they are. But rather than just be frustrated that they're showing up again, I'm going to see what I can do over the next 3 weeks to heal even deeper around these things, so that maybe the next time Mercury retrograde comes around, I don't have to do it again. And I might have to. I might only get to a certain layer that my nervous system can tolerate. And we want to be gentle with ourselves. So let's just be kind with ourselves during this time. So the question is, and again, I'm going to tell you my 2 things, but I would love to know, like, did you notice over the last week, were there things coming up for you over the last week that you were like, why is this coming into my awareness again? Okay. And it's kind of interesting to me as someone who is very open and going through a spiritual journey, from like really learning a ton of stuff openly here with you guys. You could probably see when I'm revisiting stuff. And I kind of wonder if I go back now, because I'm always telling you, like, I've talked to you about my issue with my biological dad. Well, that has come up again for me over the last week, but in a different way, which is beautiful for me. It's not like it used to be. It's different. All right. So I can tell there's another layer of healing. And I want to tell you what that is, what I think it is, but I need to spend the next couple weeks reflecting on it to understand it more. And that's not for anybody else to understand it. Like, there's nothing you could offer me. I need to understand it, So if people around you right now, if you want to be a good listener, if you want to be a good counselor, because we can all be good counselors. You know how you're a good counselor? You listen. That's all you got to do. That's all you got to do. Do you ever notice that counselors, that's pretty much what they do, is they listen and they let you work your stuff out. So that's how you're a good listener. So thank you for listening to me today. So I've got that biological father stuff coming up for me again. And for me, it's around, and I have one other thing, it has to do with politics and that kind of stuff. So for me right now, I can sense because I'm always reflecting on what a miracle it is that I've been able to disconnect from the relationship. For me, it's been very, very helpful for me to disconnect from the relationship. It's a long story. I'm not going to get into that. If you've been around, you probably know what happened. But so, in fact, in the spirit circle, if you're in the practice, you can go through the shadow workbook that we went through. We have a whole playlist on going through the shadow workbook. This would be a really good time, you guys, to go through some kind of shadow exercises, and maybe in the spirit circle over the next 3 weeks, we'll do that. We're kind of in the middle of other things. We're in the middle of a book, but maybe this is a good time to take a little pause on that and do a little shadow stuff. So maybe that's what we'll do. I don't know. I got to think about it. So anyways, we have that whole playlist. You can always go through the shadow workbook in there. And I talk a lot about, because I share exactly the shadows that I've been uncovering during that time. So what I've been amazed by, for me, again, that I've been able to cut that off, and I really needed the separation. Because every time I would see him 3 or 4 times a year, the same stuff would come back for me, and it would take a week for me to heal from it and then let it go. And then like a week, I wasn't actually healing. It was just, I would just have to come down from the experience. And then a week before I would have to go visit him again, I'd have to build myself up again, So for me to have been able to break from that pattern that's been going on for 54 years has been really healthy for me. What's coming up for me is I'm observing. Every once in a while when I think about him, and he doesn't realize that I think about him quite often, How would he know that? I don't think he would know that. It's not my responsibility. See, it's not my responsibility to make sure he knows that, right? And that's what's coming up for me for reflection right now, because I've always been very concerned about how he feels about our relationship. I've always cared too much about his approval, because you don't get it. So, there's that. What my role is, I'm evaluating right now what my role is in helping him. Okay, that's coming up for me. I want him to know, okay, I do think about him a lot, but what I do think about is just how grateful I am for me. Like, what I'm reflecting on is I don't have to keep beating myself up every time I go to visit for whatever that complication is. It's more of the relief I have that I don't have to go through that all the time, 3 times a year, like I've been doing. Okay. But the other part of the reflection is I keep looking at it it's like I think about him on purpose so that I can check in with how I feel about it. I think that's why I do that. So when I think about him, it's not actually for him. I'm thinking about him because I'm checking in with my body and my mind to see, okay, when you think about him, are you feeling shame? And I don't. And then I'm amazed because for 54 years, even when I was in contact with him, I would feel shame every time I walked away from visiting. Again, it's a whole thing. It's billions of experiences built on top of billions of experiences. Okay. So, but the key here is what's going on inside of me. The billions of experiences don't matter at this point. They just don't matter. He matters to me, but what's good is that I don't feel the shame about disconnecting. That's how I feel about it. However, this Mercury retrograde is bringing up some, I even had this thought today, well, should I send him a letter and just tell him, he's 85, should I send him a letter and just tell him how much I love him and help him understand some things? It's like this kind of stuff coming back up. What's my responsibility in the relationship? Excuse me. Throat chakra. You notice how throat chakra just came up? Pretty funny. That's very funny. I had to clear that. So that's something to look at. Okay, I can still feel it's a little bit in there. So I'm talking about this particular situation and having some throat chakra, which is your voice, very interesting. So you got to see that live. Anyway, so that's one thing that's coming up for me. The other thing that I find fascinating, which many of you know if you've been here from the beginning, the political stuff is where we kind of started, and we talked with the Elite Team Collective a lot about what was going on in the world. That's coming up for me again. Last week, I started thinking, I love doing the spiritual stuff here, but I also really like talking about what's going on in the world. Sometimes, not all the time. And it's really tricky as a creator, quote unquote, here, or someone who's facilitating conversation, to continually shift, because it confuses the community, right? When I shift. And I'm just I have so much gratitude for those of you who have shifted with me, because I've just been allowing myself to shift and just taking you along for the ride, basically. But I've noticed with this Mercury retrograde that last week I started having the thoughts again, I have just so many things to say about what's going on in the world, and I want to say it, and it's how to do that, and do I really want to? The question is, do I really want to? Because I am fully embracing this idea from what we just talked about, the last 5 episodes we did, which I will get to answering your questions about spiritual protection and vibration and how we're all vibrational beings. And I am very fully embracing the idea that we get what we vibrate around. And so I don't really want to, because that's all 3D conversation, right? And as intrigued as I am sometimes and have some things to say about the 3D experience, I also don't want to get trapped there. And I feel like I can get trapped there if I focus on it too much. And then if I'm focusing on it and I'm coming on here and focusing on it and I'm pulling more energy from you guys to focus on it, then, so these are the 2 things that are coming up for me. And that I'm going to spend the next 3 weeks kind of reflecting on. Not outward, though, not like, well, what does that mean for my community? What does that mean for my father? But what does it mean? Why? Why do I feel the need to do that? So looking inward, not looking outward over the next 3 weeks. Okay. So hopefully you'll take that opportunity for yourself as well. And just remember, you're doing great. I mean, seriously, we are all doing great. You guys, we are being asked right now to process and move very, very quickly. So that's another reason for the next 3 weeks to allow yourself this opportunity that Mercury retrograde is offering us to slow down, because things move so fast. And the rest of the world may slow down a little bit too. I don't know. You might see in the 3D some things that are being revisited again because of the Mercury retrograde. So if you see that happening, try not to get too frustrated about it, because it's a good opportunity for us collectively to review what we want collectively as well, Okay, so 2 more things. I really want to talk about this show on it just very briefly. If you want an example of unconditional love, there is a show on HBO Max, and it is called Somebody Somewhere. Has anybody seen that? So I am on my 2nd time watching it. It's been probably a year or so since I watched it. So it's enough time for me to not remember. So I'm watching it again. And I just watched the 1st episode. At the end of the 1st episode, the song Don't Give Up comes up. All right. And it's just beautiful. But the 2 characters, Sam and Joel, especially Joel, the unconditional love that just oozes out of this character, and the actor is Jeff Hiller. It is unbelievable, the unconditional love. I've never seen an example of unconditional love that like this character. It is, and I saw it the first time, but I'm seeing it so differently this time now than I did the first time. It's unbelievable. So if you want an example of that, it's very, very sweet. It's just this is actually a really good show to watch during a slow down period too, because it's slower. It's just sweet. There's nothing, there's some drama, of course, but it's very calm drama. Okay. And inward reflection stuff going on. A lot of that. So if you have not recently listened to Don't Give Up from Peter Gabriel, oh my gosh, you guys, unbelievable. But the chorus of it is, don't give up because you have friends. Don't give up. You're not beaten yet. Don't give up. I know you can make it good. And then he sings some more about what's going on. And then the next chorus is, don't give up. You still have us. So just remember, you still have us, collectively, this community. Don't give up. We don't need much of anything. We don't need much of anything. Don't give up, because somewhere there's a place where we belong. It is the sweetest, sweetest song. Rest your head. You worry too much. It's going to be all right. I feel like I want to start singing it, but you don't want me to. When times get rough, you can fall back on us. Don't give up. Please don't give up. It's very, very sweet. So anyways, go listen to Peter Gabriel, you guys. I've listened to like 5 different on YouTube, 5 different versions. One when it was like the original video, which is a little odd. It's just him and this woman just hugging the whole time. From the 80s, you know. And then I watched another one when he's a little older, and then I watched a more recent one when he's, you know, significantly older. So great singer, such a great singer. Okay, so don't give up, all right? Because you've got us. And again, if you can watch Somebody Somewhere, let me know if you're going to watch that. It's so good. It would be worth getting a month of HBO Max just to watch it, in my opinion. Okay, let's pull a card real quick. So I close my aura to all but my higher self, the God consciousness, my guides, guardians, the lead team collective, and only those of the highest and purest light, and ask Archangel Michael to please protect my channel, your channel, the lead team collective, and our community, so it is all of the highest and purest light. Amen. Okay. These are the first time we're using this deck, so they're a little stiff. Okay, lead team. Oh, thank you. I will pull the dowsing rods out to make sure that's the message. That one popped right away, though. Let's see if there's any. Let me just ask them. Hey, lead team. Hello, hello. Thank you for being here. Is that the card you wanted me to read? The first one that just popped? Yes. Are there any others? No. Okay. All right. So, oh, interesting. Oh, look at the image, you guys. Oh, it's so pretty. Okay, you get anything from that image? You can take a picture of it if you want, or pause right now before I give you if you want to look at it some more. So the word is energy, and it's a 41, so 4 plus 1 is 5, so it's a 5 card. Let's see how it relates to our conversation today. Okay. Oh, it's interesting. So the affirmation is, as I maintain a higher energetic frequency, I can freely express love and gratitude. So it's really kind of interesting because, you know how I just said to you that I'm really understanding the higher vibration now, and that we're vibrational beings, and do we really want to keep talking about the 3D? And then I gave you an example of unconditional love and how I'm seeing it differently from that show. So, you know, that's kind of interesting to me. And then they give us the card energy. So everyone has a specific energetic vibration. Learning to discern the difference in your energy when it is at a high or low vibration can help you self-regulate. As you come to understand your energetic distinctions, you will be able to adjust your vibration consciously. When your vibration is lower, your energy is heavier and denser. At such times, you may experience discomfort in your body or be susceptible to catching a cold or other illnesses. You may find that your problems are overwhelming. You also may feel less motivated and view things more pessimistically. The higher your vibration, the lighter you will feel in your body, your mind, and your emotions. You will have more clarity and be able to express love and joy and have a sense of peace. You will feel positive and will ably take on challenges. Ably. I've never used that word before. Your life will flow with ease and synchronicity. When your vibration is higher, your energetic body or aura will reflect this, as it will be full of white light. I'm just going to read the whole thing in case it's helpful for someone here. It's not too much. A couple more paragraphs. You might feel that your heart is more open and that you are more compassionate for others and their processes. You will be less likely to lash out at others, as you will want to be more loving. As you become more aware of your energetic frequency, you will notice your higher vibrations affect the energy of those with whom you come into contact. You might start seeing subtle changes in those around you. You might be aware of the vibrational dissonance you feel when you enter a low vibration situation. Everyone can raise their vibration. It requires commitment, but when you shift your energy, you will attract people who vibrate at the same level. Right? So we want that love. We want to vibrate. Okay. This answers my question about continuing to talk about 3D stuff. Like, even though we do attract more people when we're talking about 3D stuff, there's no doubt. That's not really what I want to resonate with, though. Not that I don't like them. I just don't want to resonate with that energy, Your thought patterns will become healing, supportive, and help you view your life and your choices with clarity and optimism. As you manage your energy and stay in higher loving frequencies, your ability to express gratitude will become second nature. An angel rides on the back of a spotted lion with twisted antelope horns. Oh, yeah, look at that. I didn't even notice that. They are traveling away from the dark of night and into the dawn of a new day. Angels are a reminder that you are protected, loved, and not alone. That don't give up, because you've got us, Isn't that amazing how this all came together? Angels are a reminder that you are protected, loved, and not alone. They can represent having a calm, peaceful mind. Antelope horns are a symbol of spiritual awakening. The spots on the lion can signify happiness and loyalty. The pair are high above the landscape, indicating the ability to rise above obstacles. This card can also signify the potential for travel or adventure. Very cool. So cool how this entire conversation came together, and I didn't even expect it to. Sometimes I just don't know, I was like, I just feel like talking about Mercury Retrograde and this song by Peter Gabriel and The Unconditional Love by Jeff Hiller, who plays the character Joel. It's just unreal. Okay, just a reminder, the affirmation, as I maintain a higher energetic frequency, I can freely express love and gratitude. Okay, you guys, I'll see you tomorrow. Let me know what you think, and just love your own input. I'd love to hear your stories about what you're feeling during Mercury retrograde right now and kind of how you're going to approach it. So, all right, talk soon. Bye-bye.